All right, this morning we woke up. We're about to head out for a kind of a historical tour. We're gonna go to Robbin Island and visit some townships. The townships are kind of like reservations that we have in the United States, where they put the black South Africans during the Apartheid. And is there any more you want to say about it? Okay. That's it.
We'll tell you more when we know more.
Yeah, so we'll find out more, and yeah. Can you explain like what exactly is a township?
Townships will be the communities that where the non-whites were taken to. So they just named them townships. I don't really know what the meaning behind the name township. But township are those places who are the people who are not white.
And they were removed forcefully, but like during the Apartheid?
Yes.
And
yes.
Why do they still live there? Like, why do...
That's our homes.
Oh, okay.
That's where we live. That's where we were born. Some of us, most of us.
Would be established to accommodate the black folks that were kicked out of that area, right? And there was a criteria that the government used in order to qualify to be moved to Langa and not 1,500 kilometers away from your home. If you were married and you had a job in Cape Town at the time and your employer could confirm that, then you would qualify to be moved into this township, into the family homes that we will be able to see when we're walking through Mandy Avenue. Dom Pass, you know, that is a very derogatory connotation to it, because dom means stupid and pass is for passport. So it was a combination of these two words that formed the concept dom pass. I mean the term dom pass. And that was the name of the passport that you had to carry with you whenever you were in the urban cities as an immigrant who comes from the rural homelands of South Africa, right? The reason why I'm telling you all of this is to try and give you context, because otherwise you wouldn't understand what's really happening in our communities today if I don't give you a little bit of history, because these townships are a product of the apartheid system. Now, I'll be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you a little bit of about our history. Okay? Now, this way, I'm trying to take you into the old hostels. We're going to go inside, and we have an open door policy to visitors. So when we go into hostels like that, there's no fee that we pay to go into our homes. The community understands the importance of these tours. Though on paper we have no apartheid, but some of the decisions that were made back in the day still continue to affect generations and generations after the end of apartheid. So one such example is these living conditions, right?
What are some of the other like social consequences that are still existing because of apartheid?
I mean the perpetual cycle of poverty, you know, where if you come from a family where, your parents don't have the means to take you to university because they don't have a good job, which means if they don't have a good job, that's a consequence of not being able to get education. Because although there might be opportunities available, you still need a qualification to access those opportunities. So if you don't have the necessary qualifications,
then it's circular, because then like your kids
exactly.
like saying you don't have the means, and then your kids can't go.
Talking financial, education with your kids with no finances to work with,
Does the government have any system of like affirmative action where there's like quotas that they have to accept from the townships, or?
It's a bit of a slippery slope, because we already have people 29 years into our democracy. We are trying to reverse damage that has been caused for over a period of 150 years. It has only been 29 years, and we already have people that are talking about reverse racism, or reverse apartheid. So it's a very tricky situation, because we do have those policies, but they are not welcome by everyone.
Right.
You know, we know the potential that kids in these communities have. We want to be doctors, we want to be lawyers.
Right.
Our fathers were content with being construction workers, working in the mines, just to, you know, be able to provide. You know, there was a sense of pride that came with that. But they didn't know that they could actually do better than that, because they didn't know any better. Now, when we demand things like free education at universities for kids who come from underprivileged communities, people think that we're being petty, you know, for demanding free stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That is not because we want free stuff. That is because we want to level the playing field so that we can also contribute meaningfully.
And the privilege say, like, where's my handout?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's been the, you know, the most challenging part about the affirmative action and the quota system in South Africa at this point. 4 times, this is one of the 4 units, right? So 16 families downstairs, 16, that is 64 families. Yep.
So touring in one of the townships right now, this is like the remnants of the apartheid era and the poverty that still exists. It's eye-opening to see, to say the least, but a little bit gut-wrenching and heartbreaking at the same time. Hi. You see what? Look here. Hey, it's you.
With being colored because whenever we saw the cops, and remember the cops were the only white people we knew as kids. We didn't really see many white people in these communities because Langa Township was designed to be 100% black, right? So when we saw the cops who were English and African speaking white men, and those were the only white people we knew to go and tell the parents that the cops are around. And, you know, we knew that trouble was brewing, obviously, right? So because we didn't have TV, we didn't really have any internet. The white people that we were exposed to were the ones we had to run away from as kids to tell the parents. So you can imagine the psychological conditioning for kids who grew up around that time. So when we see kids this comfortable, to me this means that we are making progress, you know. So the reason why we conduct our tours the way that we conduct them is to try and if these kids cannot go to the world, we try and bring the world to them and introduce them to people of different cultures, different languages and different backgrounds, because, you know, a child from Langa, the only time they will get to a diverse environment is when they go to university, you know, and how many kids get to go to university? Very, very few.
Can you wait? You have to celebrate if you score. We've now finished the township part of our tour. I'll give you my thoughts and reflections on that later, but we are now headed to the ferry to go to Robbin Island and see the prison where Nelson Mandela spent most of his sentence. So we're headed there now after getting some food. Belly full of food. Belly full of food. That was not the best sign off, but all right. Thanks.
One at a time.
On Saturdays here in this prison, get a chance of playing sport in this place.
who play rugby, soccer, as well as tennis. Let's get inside. Because as prisoners, we like to write a lot. For example, Ndalo was here charged with sabotage, terrorism, whatever. But the place was repainted about 12 years ago, taking all that information and history away, unfortunately. Please follow me. Those architects of apartheid to make blacks in this country nothing but slaves. But unfortunately, when we were protesting, demonstrating peacefully against that system of education, the response from the regime was always negative because we were tear gassed, paid on charge, taken to trench to torture, and some of our students were even killed. Mr. Nelson Mandela informed us what was called Umkhonto Wesizwe, the spear of the nation in 1961. That's why I left this country illegally in 1981 through Swaziland. I was in Mozambique, from Mozambique straight to Angola. That's where I was trained militarily to come and fight apartheid in this country. From the Black Pole downward used to be the garden of Mr. Nelson Mandela. That's where the manuscript was found buried.
That picture is facing up. So the people sitting there.
This is Nelson Mandela's cell. All right, we just got back from our tour of a township and then to Robbin Island. I think the real highlight of the tour was the township, which was strange because the whole purpose of the tour was Robbin Island. The township was kind of just a throw-in, but that's really what kind of left an impact, seeing the remnants of the apartheid era and seeing how some people are still affected by that. Going into these houses, our guide is from there, grew up in this house sharing small house with like 16 families. But yeah, it was a real humbling experience, but it felt a little honestly invasive as we're walking around and people still living there and we're tourists like taking pictures of their lifestyle. But then we went to Robbin Island, and Robbin Island was cool. Definitely interesting getting to see where like the political prisoners stayed during the apartheid era, and Nelson Mandela, of course, his cell. They were extremely small, which must have been really difficult to spend 18 years, I think is how long he spent there. But I think it paled in comparison after seeing the township. Mainly because like the township, I think, is still like a current issue. You're seeing this is the effect of apartheid still on the people alive today.
That's the letter Q, and then that's the letter X, and the last one is the letter C. We pronounce it as a Tatlisa. Tatlisa means explain, and that's what I'm doing right now. Tatlisa, explaining to you. This means that the skunk was rolling on the grass and then it broke its neck. Crocodiles are fighting. You know, so these are the clicks that we have in the Xhosa language, but we don't click all the time. Sometimes we use, you know, other letters also. You know, I can go for a while without clicking, you know, but when we click, it's not punctuation marks, it's actual letters that you'll find in the alphabet, X, Q, and C, all right? Can we try and say in the Kalukabi clicking guy?
No way.
Kalukabi clicking guy, which means I usually cut my grandfather's head. All right. So those are the clicks that we have in the Xhosa language.
Not so long ago, the year before COVID, I did a tour with Matt Damon.
Really?
Wow.
He spent the full day in the township, and he's quite a cool guy.